Hi everyone, welcome back to Evolve and Execute. I'm your host, CS Rajiv Bajaj, startup coach, mentor, and your partner in decoding clarity, growth, and conscious execution. Today, we are exploring a topic that defines the difference between good organization and great ones. That's leadership. So many people believe leadership is reserved for the top founders, CXOs, or decision makers. But the truth is, leadership is a mindset, not a title. Every individual from the frontline employee to the boardroom influencers, culture, and the performance and outcomes. So, why does leadership training matter at every level? How does it transform teams, drive accountability, and shape the future of the organization? So, to guide us through this conversation, we have with us Ms. Padmajah Narasimhan, leadership and development consultant and founder of NTCS, uh, with lots of experience in developing leaders across industries. She has helped individuals discover their unique leadership voice and build emotionally intelligent organizations. Ms. Padmajah, welcome to Evolve and Execute, and it's pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to, interact on leadership in a platform like Evolve and Execute. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Padmajah ji. If you can quickly introduce yourself, what you do, so for our viewers.
So I have a 20-year corporate experience working in multiple, BPOs, IT companies, and also a logistics framework. So working as operations manager and quality manager, and then somewhere after family responsibilities, I started working on the consultant, freelancing, and other stuff. And yeah, for the past 2 years, I am also having my own startup focusing on corporate trainings, leadership trainings, and content management.
Oh,
So,
perfect, perfect. So we are very much in the similar work environment.
yeah.
Love to interact with you. So, Padmaja ji, we begin with the foundation. What
Sure.
is, in your view, which defines leadership, and why do you believe it's not limited to designation or hierarchy?
Leadership, always there is a common myth. It's all about power. For me, leadership is initiation and action. Suppose if there is any crisis project and a team member is working, taking a step forward and working towards a solution, then he is a leader rather than a person designated as a manager becomes passive and not offering solution for it. So leadership is always a thought process that is evolving, and it is an action oriented trait. It is not about power, it's about the influence that is creating over the employees.
That's a very lovely thought. So, you often say that leadership training should start from ground up. What kind of shifts do you see when entry or mid-level professionals go through leadership development?
So the entry, level, they are always having a mindset that is a task mindset. You allocate a job to them, they will do it. They will say, okay, this is going to be, step one, two, three, four. They'll do as the same sequence. But when it comes to the middle, the transitioning from entry to the middle ground leadership, there is a ownership mindset. So from my job to they are taking to our goal. That is a transition that is expected in a leadership, from middle, entry to the mid level.
Right, right. Absolutely. I agree with you. Many organizations still treat leadership training as a luxury, not a necessity. What do you
Tha-
think they misunderstand about its long-term impact, or they are simply ignorant about it?
Thank you for asking these questions because many of the organizations feel that leadership is always a cost. They don't see it as an investment. But over the longer run, if you don't train your leaders, what expectations you have a double fold expectations, multifold expectations, but you're not providing an avenue for them to improve. You're not giving them the scope, the scenarios, the simulated versions for them to understand the aspects, unique aspects of leadership. See, leadership is not a kind of only one way path or something. It is multifold things. You have to have an empathy, you have to have emotional intelligence, and it is not innate, it has to be trained. So I have seen organizations who invested in leadership, they have really seen an exponential growth and greater employee retention. So they should not see it as a cost, it's an investment.
Agreed, agreed. So many traditional organizations, they still have the thought process that leadership is a cost
Yeah.
or training is a cost. But things are changing. More and more modern entrepreneurs are emerging. I'm sure things will improve in this arena. So, how does leadership training influences organizational culture, especially in shaping accountability, communication, and trust?
Organization culture, usually people think organization culture is in the codes, posters, and it is on the branding side. It is never a branding, entity. It is always a purpose. And it has to any organization culture that focuses on process and people. I think there the leadership is a kind of strong. There, if there is hierarchy also, the hierarchy is for the processes that is required. Otherwise the leaders also step in as a common employee, and they take the collective responsibility of leading the show. So culture, as I told, it is always about the people, and people need to be trained to up the ladder. And the organization culture is always effective if you have leadership trainings, if you have employee management trainings, and these trainings are very important at all levels. So culture is always defined by the people, not the posters.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very strong statements. Um, we often hear about leading self before leading others. So, could you elaborate on how self leadership forms the foundation of effective leadership?
See, self leadership is always an awareness thing. So once you think that you can lead a person, then only the confidence builds and you will set a path to lead. So self leadership is always about awareness of one's talent, skill, and emotions, and also the balance that you're going to create when two different individuals are going to work in a same team. So awareness, self-awareness is the confidence, the control that you have towards your emotions. That is also important. So in a leader, if you are a good leader, you should not be biased. You should be a good listener. So these things are very important. Am I biased? Am I a good listener? So we have, when we train the early leaders, we have a set of emotional intelligence, aspects covered. We call it as mirror moments, where they think themselves as the leader and they think themselves as the employee. So what happens is they are able to think themselves wearing two hats, and they balance and they self evaluate. That is the self leadership awareness that one can create before leading a team.
Exactly. And it is always said lead by example. So, you have to
Absolutely.
leave
Yeah.
self aside and, set an example for others to follow. So, in your experience, what are these common leadership blind spots you have seen across levels? How can training help address them? I think, please elaborate this more.
Yeah, see, currently leadership, see, now with the campus interviews, people become leaders early. So they say evangelists, they have the fancy terms coming up in their LinkedIn profile as leaders. But the blind spots, what I felt after training many leaders is overconfidence. That is, once a project is right, they would have done it really better. So they have the same confidence level to the other new project, which can be a different game changer. So that is something which is kind of a problem that I see, a blind spot, critical blind spot. The other thing is listening. So listening, it is like, it is not that what people say that you listen. Even silence is a kind of, you need to understand silence. People, all the readers, what they do is they mistake silence as a agreement. Yes for all. But silence is not an agreement. Silence can be a trigger for another problem. So leaders should understand where to listen and how to probe, and they have to understand the employee's perspective, that is the reflection, also in a good manner. Finally, the blind spot is kind of, feedback. Nowadays, with the all the Gen Zs around, they give feedback. The leaders are into millennials, so there is a common kind of, workplace dilemma that is coming in. So leaders should not see feedback as a criticism. It should be an enhancement. So now most these three are the blind spots that I see in leaders, and this needs to be addressed in a training session, maybe a more participative training session with simulated scenarios and exercises. And conflict management is a core responsibility where all these three blind spots are, shattering the entire piece of the organization.
Fantastic. I think basically people are not aware that they are being taken for a ride by other emotions and cultural pulls and pressures within the organization. So that's why this dilemma happens. But as organization grows, leaders need to evolve. So how can training programs adapt to the changing leadership demands of a startup or a SME and the corporation?
See, we cannot have a same training program for everyone. So, startups, their view is very different. Their progress matters in that. So, we need leaders to work at the ground level, and they have to work along with the team to take it forward and pivot. So, startups require progress-based leadership where the expertise comes in as a first, element. In SMEs, they already have the knowledge. They just want to, diversify their, services and share it with the correct target audience. So there are the leadership here is centered around the middle managers and also the, uh, top level CEOs. But when it is an established organization, the leadership is not about branding people. It's always about succession planning. They need good leaders to come and replace the old ones who retire. So, at each level, if you see, there is a particular indicator for leadership trainings, and if you ask me whether it's important to train SMEs in leadership first or the startups need more leadership trainings, at all levels leadership trainings are required, but the customization will be based on these indicators: the progress, the pivot, and also the succession planning.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. And many organizations are waking up to this, and leadership training is gaining ground. And there are lots of trainers available in India as well as globally. So, according to the budget of the organization, they can go for the best of the leadership trainers. So, how can leadership training foster diversity and inclusion, ensuring that voices across gender, culture, and backgrounds are empowered? So, can you throw some light on this?
You have to remove the element of bias, conscious bias. That is the first one foremost. And then acceptance, the acceptance towards the inclusion. That's the first step towards any diversity leadership campaign. Now with all the company rules that are established, I think diversity plays an important role where people who have not been important earlier, they are looked forward and they are offered the leadership roles. So inclusion and diversity are a kind of they go hand in hand. If the leadership is intact, if the leader accepts the inclusion and diversity purpose and he drives towards it, that mere acceptance and will not help, because you can employ a female leader, and then in a boardroom you can make her sit, but you don't accept her views, so it is not going to work out in that way. That is not inclusion. It is just on paper you're including her. So when there is a shift in the thought process and when there is acceptance and listening to the people who are into diversity and inclusion, then I think the leadership is a kind of, very prime, and it is going to be sustainable.
Very well said. Many people, they just pretend that they are
Yeah.
not having gender bias, or they are not having such aberrations, but and when it comes to the ground reality, you find lots of cultural issues. So, but I think leaders should look at it with empathy. I think that's the main
Yes. Empathy is
aspect which,
always the gradient for inclusion. If you don't empathize,
yes,
you cannot, understand people. That's well said.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, with the hybrid work culture becoming the norm, leadership has gone beyond physical presence. What new leadership skills are essential in this digital era? If you can throw some light on this.
Digital era is a two-way sword. That is what I know, because when it is up to dealing with the interns or the entry level employees, the leaders always think that they don't have challenges, they can do it anyways. So that mindset also matters. When you have a kind of, you're dealing with a young crowd, you should be having a participative mindset and receptive approach. And also digital awareness, because uh, in any say I feel that the millennials have a kind of less digital knowledge than the Gen Z's when it comes to handling meetings or anything. So of that sort, they learn the new technology, they adapt the new technology so fast. So as a leader, we need to keep up with their pace, and we need to learn. So any leader who stops learning, I think he cannot survive in a hybrid environment, because every day there is a new thing to learn. So that is one thing. And second thing is, you need to have a process in place where, if it is digital also, you need to have an agile method where you start, monitoring the small, operational success that is there, rather than waiting everything to be delivered on a deadline. So the planning uh, in a hybrid mode is quite different than the planning in a kind of office mode. So leaders need to understand and apply those things. And another important thing what I feel the leaders needs to have is, they need to have a clarity of thought and an understanding about each individual in the team, their strengths, weakness, whether are they having um, a venue to work hybrid? Do they have enough resources? Are they having a safe, quiet place to work? So these are all some, informal interactions that the leader should have know about the team, so that they can guide better.
Very well
So that's
said.
important.
So, Padmajaji, if leadership is everyone's responsibility, what's the first step for someone who has never seen themselves as a leader and they are just entering this arena?
So you become a leader when you don't wait for instructions. You take something on your own and start working towards it. That is the entry level leadership. So if the leader calls for some initiative, for example, if the manager is on leave and the client has an important needs an important clarification, the person in the team who steps up and says, I'll talk to the client and I will resolve, he becomes a leader, because he's not waiting for the manager's approval. He says, I am confident, I'm going to, he's taking a risk there, and he's taking something, an action. So entry level leadership matters most when you have a risk taking attitude, when you don't wait for instructions, and you take an initiative and an action. That's where
Right.
the
Risk,
leaders become.
yes, risk, reward, and confidence, they grow and they work hand in hand. So, you have reminded me of my younger days when I was, taking
Yeah.
all kind of risk.
All
So,
the people who are the leaders now, we have been into a different setup. It's more traditional leadership. We follow the leaders, and we wait for the opportunities. Any small opportunity also, we just jump out and take it up. So that's where the sustainability comes in as leaders. Over the
yeah,
period, you become, there's nothing they say, right? You become, it is like, just fine tuning the diamond as it shines. So that's the
right.
leadership.
Don't wait for the opportunity, grab it. So that
Yes.
should be the approach. Okay, very interesting conversation so far. We are coming to our
Thank you.
rapid fire round. So
Oh,
here we will ask you some rapid fire quick questions with some quick answers from your side. So I'm just starting with the first one. One myth about leadership you would love to bust.
it is not power. Leadership is always three P's: people, progress, and performance.
Perfect. Born leader or a trained leader?
Absolutely trained leader. Even born leaders need to be trained on certain crisis situations, especially something like conflict management, succession planning.
Yeah, yeah. The Bihar election is the one example of that.
Yes,
Okay.
you
Your
read my
favorite,
mind.
your favorite leadership book or author?
Leaders eat last. Simon.
Okay, okay. All right. And one leadership quality that never goes out of style.
Integrity.
Oh, very, very powerful statement here. A common mistake many managers make.
They manage people as task. It is not a task. They manage people. So there's no emotional intelligence that is coming in. So that is one of the common mistakes in all managers.
Most underrated leadership skill.
Adaptability.
Right, absolutely. Leadership in one word.
It's influence.
Yes, you should have that influence to lead the team, and that's why lots of influencers these days. The best leadership advice you have ever received.
One of my mentors told me, you should not lead the team the way you have been led. You should lead the team by the way they want to be led. So that makes a world of difference for me in the leadership quality, because often what leaders feel that they think that I have been posed into all these situations and I have been through a lot, so in order to groom others I have to just post the same situations to the people who are under me. So that doesn't work out. It's a shift in the thought process wherein you need to lead the team how they want to be led. That's the best advice I've got yet.
Democracy in leadership and having that democratic style in leadership is very, very important, no doubt about it. The one trait every future leader must have.
Accountability, taking ownership of what they are doing and be accountable for it, even
Yes,
if it is not
accountability.
working out.
Yes, and taking the responsibility also. If things fail,
Yes,
you should have the courage to take the responsibility and don't pass it on to your juniors.
yeah,
That's the best leadership trait. Dr. Abdul Kalam
yes,
was one such
yeah.
glaring example who always took responsibility of his acts and things like that. Very nice. And if leadership were a movie title, what would it be?
um, Ripple effect, wherein the leaders are definitely if they are good leaders they have to create a ripple effect that transcends towards at all levels to the team, and even defining a purpose, even defining what works out, what don't works out. I think it should be ripple effect, the movie.
All right, very nice. So, Padmajah, we had a very insightful discussion, and what stood out today is that leadership isn't about power, it's about presence, it's about how we influence, communicate, and lift others, no matter our position or title. So, what is that one big advice you would like to give to our viewers who are raring to become the leaders or who are startup entrepreneurs and or MSME entrepreneurs who are struggling with these leadership issues?
See, they should be a lifelong learner. That is the first primary advice, because there are a lot of scenarios that are coming up for people as challenges, but the solution is already there, somewhere available. So I prefer, leaders to read a lot, especially with kind of, probably the startup people. They should definitely read Lean Startup, Eric Ries. So it is very important for them to understand. Some people have written it, documented it for their reference, and it's a steady state solutions that they have. So learning, be a lifelong learner, take risk, and also be accountable for the risk that you take. It is not a blame game that they can share. They need to take the accountability for it and work towards success. If they don't succeed also, to some matter they would have progressed. So that's where the resilience of the leader also plays comes into place. So for all the leaders everywhere at any level, I think even Mukesh Ambani will have challenges. So he would look out for solutions at the level where he gets the information or he gets the knowledge from. So learning is the lifelong thing for the leaders.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. So when leadership becomes everyone's responsibility, organizations don't just function, they flourish. So that's a very common
Absolutely.
statement which we discuss. So what in your view, the MSMEs and startups of the world should do to actually enhance the overall leadership positioning of their organization?
Most of the MSMEs, they are starting with solopreneurship. They're starting with solopreneurship with the kind of, fear of investing in place. Even for that matter, I started as a solopreneur. I was an accountant, I was doing managing, I was doing coordinating, invoicing, everything I was doing in the first year. So I have become jack of all trades, but I'm not able to focus on what I should function. So MSMEs or startup owners, they need to list down the task that they do it on everyday life, and check whether these tasks can be replaced by someone, and focus on the tasks that they are required to do where they cannot be replaced. So in this way, if they function, they are becoming a leader. They are delegating
Yeah,
to someone who is worthy to do the task, and also they are becoming a leader in the first place. So this is the first, shift that should come in MSMEs and also startups. They should start working out, depend on people, take risk on people, select and recruit the right kind of talent who can handle this. When they do it and they set up the systems in place, then the leadership becomes a kind of, more easier thing for them. And they can have ardent focus on the things that they need to do. That is my
right.
view of in terms of SMEs and startup leaders. This is the something which they have to work out.
Absolutely. There's no replacement of delegation, and you may be jack of all trades, but you must
Yeah.
know where to put in your time because at the end of the day, you have that 9 or 10 or working hours in a day. So use that effectively and use that wisely so that you can earn more. So I think that's a big leadership lesson, which all of us we keep on spreading to our viewers
True.
and to all our listeners, whether you are leading a team or a project or just your own growth. Remember, leadership begins the moment you take ownership. So at the end of the day, it's all about taking ownership. And one last word from your side to our listeners, please.
So, as I told in the starting of the conversation, I enjoyed the questions because it was so thought-provoking, and also it is kind of setting a success of leadership, the parameters for a successful leadership. So all the questions were real-time challenges where the leaders make mistakes, or the organization, for that matter, they discount the leadership aspects. So I felt I thoroughly enjoyed answering these questions, but these questions also, are helping me to think forward. to include more changes or in the leadership curriculum that we offer, and also align it with the organization challenges and scenarios. So thank you so much. That's been really helpful for me. In a kind of leadership coach, it is providing me a kind of understanding and insight where I could focus more on the deliberations that are there, the as discussed, and you know enhance my modules and leadership coaching in a better way.
Right, right. All of us are lifelong learners, so we
Absolutely.
keep on exchanging notes and exchanging our leadership lessons, which we have learned all across our careers. I worked with Panasonic. I was trained in change management by American coach way back in
Awesome.
2020. That these we all have journeys, and that actually every day teaches us something new. So until next time, keep evolving, keep executing, and keep leading with intention. This is CS Rajiv Bajaj signing off from Evolve and Execute. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Padmajaji,
so
for
much. Thank you so much, Divya and Rajan sir.
thank
It's been
you,
a
thank
pleasure
you,
talking with you. Thank you. Bye
thank
bye.
you, all our viewers, and until next time, bye bye, bye bye.